Well, welcome to my greenhouse. This is the southern exposure, so this will be the brighter side of the greenhouse. I've got roses, citrus, and cymbidiums growing outside, and that provides some degree of shade on the inside for the hottest days in the summer. Now let's go take a trip into the greenhouse, and I'll show you what I've got growing. A pretty wide range of orchids. As we enter, this is the brightest area. I've got a number of Laocatlayas from Flask from Sunset Valley Orchids. You'll see a few of those blooming in a bit. Oncidium, and then right by the western door, which gets some bright afternoon sunlight, a number of Cal Orchid epidendrums have done very well for me here. So those are clustered on the floor on the western side. Laelia anceps does very well with the bright sun exposure. We've got a trick-or-treat hybrid over here from Sunset Valley Orchids. You'll see quite a few more of these, but one of the nicer reds. We get a little more shady on this side, and so there are a number of stanhopas in wire baskets. So those are doing well. They're a little high, so they do get a little more heat than they probably need. And then this is the first year that I've got a sarcochilus to bloom. It is mounted. I'll keep it fairly moist, and it seems to be pretty happy right here. Let's go to the sunny side. This is the southern and somewhat eastern exposure. Another trick-or-treat hybrid. Some hanging plants out of Flask. Again, the trick-or-treat hybrids, and Laocatlea macchii hybrids. I grow my Tolumias mounted on little twigs and branches. This is a particular nice one that will bloom for a month to month and a half, and it gets good air circulation, water in the morning, and it dries out very quickly and stays dry most of the day. Stonehouse is just finishing up blooming now. It's a Cattleya, noted for its ability to withstand fairly cool temperatures from Sunset Valley, from Santa Barbara Orchid Estate, and they have said that their plant has gotten down as low as 28 degrees at times and has bloomed pretty nicely. Another Sunset Valley Orchids, I don't know if you can see it backlit, but there we go. Another trick-or-treat hybrid, particularly nice reddish color, and then here's the more traditional trick-or-treat orange color. But these are fairly bright, 40% shade cloth, luminized, whitewashed greenhouse on this side. So we're getting about 3,000 foot candles. Dendrobium thriciflorum, which takes a dry winter rest. This is the first time now I've got multiple blooms. There are 4 bloom spikes, and 2 of them are out now on this plant. Again, good air circulation. But this is the bright side of the greenhouse, and the higher up you get in elevation, hanging from pipes, the warmer, and can get really cool in the wintertime. I get down in the low 40s, and all of these plants seem to do quite well. Ancelia africans. I had no idea how large this plant got when I first bought it from Bob Asbell, but really nice, colorful sprays, huge number of flowers, and I have it mounted in a tree stump growing on the center bench of the greenhouse, and it seems to be extremely happy growing in that area. A couple Phalaenopsis in the shadier areas. It's a particularly nice cluster, and this is Leptodes bicolor. And what have we got growing here? Well, we've got a Vanda that I purchased for $7.50 from Santa Barbara Orchid Estate about 5 years ago, and this is the first flower that's opening. I'm particularly happy with the way that looks. Very cool growing, and likes bright conditions, and it seems to be happy. Here's a Sunset Valley Orchids, Mr. Bojangles. Fantastic fragrance, and that's the first time this has bloomed for me as well. And relatively bright. You can see that it's in a hanging basket suspended. This is an Andy Easton division. which is Cattleya suavis. And it has been in bloom for 3.5, almost 4 weeks. And it is particularly nice. It's growing relatively high, and so it's getting warmer temperatures and fairly bright temperatures. This is the eastern side of the greenhouse, and this is probably the preferred area for Cattleyas. This is a Hauserman Cattleya. Just really great color, deep dark purple lip. A couple of bulbal phylums in the more shady area. This is, you can see it's the Anhopa embryi. It's about a 7-year-old plant, and it's got a few flower spikes that are starting to develop. So that'll be blooming in about 5 to 6 weeks. This is a Cymbidium caniculata hybrid, Jeff Laird, and it likes it warm, much warmer than most Cymbidiums. And the flower spikes can be up to 5 feet long, light yellow. A darker version, little black sambo. Oh, and here's a little willow who's come in to see what's going on in the greenhouse. Willow, leave the plants alone. Little shadier side now, an oak tree with a number of tillandsias mounted on the oak tree. These seem to be very happy. Some bulbal phylums. Loelia anceps, brighter and higher up, so they get a little warmer. And towards the back of the greenhouse now, this is somewhat northern exposure, and so we've got a split leaf philodendron, and here's the little black sambo caniculatum hybrid. And it's got a number of flower spikes. It's in great need of repotting. Some Phalaenopsis that I purchased for an art show to do a repotting demonstration, which then got canceled. So I've got more than my fair share of Phalaenopsis. And here's the little black sambo, again in a pot fairly high up on the sidewall. So it gets really warm temperatures, much warmer than most Cymbidiums. And it likes drier conditions, December through February. And it is blooming quite well. Fairly large plant. These things weigh 50 to 60 pounds, so they're a little bit difficult when I have to repot them, which I should have done last year. Some of my tillandsias. This one, particularly nice, comes from Dan Newman of Hanging Gardens up in Pacifica. And then here's another Jeff Laird. And this is Cattleya skinneri, which I got at the Five Cities silent auction about 4 years ago. And it was in pretty dire shape, recovered pretty nicely. And I'm going to just walk over to the other side of the greenhouse and I'll show you the Cattleya skinneri that is the white alba form. And you can compare the two. This one came from Tanya Lamb when she was a speaker at her society about 5 years ago. And as you can see, it has done well. And I showed that to you previously, but just wanted to compare the traditional purple and then the alba white form. So that's pretty much it. A few Sunset Valley Orchid trick-or-treat hybrids. And I believe this one is also particularly nice. Oh, and here's something new that's just started blooming today. So always something new in the greenhouse. Hope you enjoyed, and that's pretty much my greenhouse growing area.